guys, Howard here with China Grove from the Doobies. Everyone really enjoyed Long Train Running, so I thought, why not do China Grove? It's a classic, right? So let's get right into it. First, about the tone, okay? I'm on my bridge pickup. The guitar is wide open, and I've got a pretty healthy dose of distortion or gain going. It's not metal, but just a good classic crunch. And of course, you want delay on it. Whatever pedal you use is totally fine, but set the delay to about right here. And that will get you right in the zone. So let's talk about how you play this bad boy. It's power chords at first out the gate. We've got an E power chord, then we're going to have a D, a C sharp, and an A, okay? And these are all the same shape. 7th fret on the A string, 9 on the D, 9 on the G, okay? So let's talk about how this is played. Sometimes you see it played like this. But that's actually not what's happening on the recording. For one thing, they're engaging with that open E string, slightly muted, and then the other strings are muted as well, so they get this. And when you watch them play it live, you definitely see them doing these downstrokes. So it's just a chug motion. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. So what we got to do here is hit the power chord twice, and then apply some muting back here, release the pressure on the chord, and do 4 downstrokes. And so what you're doing is you're connecting with that open E string, slightly muted, and the other strings as well. So you get that big percussive sound. So we have, right, 4 of those in between each of those chords. Then we've got the D. Now, you don't have to hit the E, the open E string with that mute in between these, but you do hear that once in a while on the recording. So feel free to do that. And then you hit the A chord. And the A chord is very staccato as well. Sometimes you hear it played. But when you listen to the recording, it's just as bitey as these chords. So what happens at the end of the E chord is you're going to have 2 more muted downstrokes before you come back to the E chord, okay? So the whole thing nice and slow is... And then you'll hear this. 7, 9, open on that top E string, okay? That's the riff, that's the opening riff. But a couple of nuances about it. When he starts it out the first couple of times, he slides that E chord, which sounds really cool. And if I'm not mistaken, he tends to do that kind of randomly throughout the tune. So you can do that, or sometimes just play it very staccato or just somewhere in between. It varies, okay? But basically, this is what you'll have. Play it 4 times, and on the last time, you let that A string ring out, okay? I should say 4 times after the band comes in. You play it twice by yourself with those kind of slidey E chords, and then the band's in and you play it 4 times, and as I said, let that A string ring out. Then we come back and we play the riff for the verse, right? The first verse, and you're only going to play the riff twice, and then we're going to go to a C sharp, and then a B to an E, and so forth and so on. So I'll show you how that works as well. So starting from when the vocal comes in, we have this. of things about that, obviously there's more than one guitar here, but I'll explain how I kind of put it together to play it on one guitar. So after we've played that main riff twice, we come to a C sharp minor, and I'll put this one on tab for you. So what you're kind of doing is hitting the bassier strings of the chord and then swinging down and bringing the other strings through, right? So it's, and then we got this. So that's just a hammer on, you can see it on the tab, but a hammer on from 9 to 11 on the A string, and then catch the D and the G string at the 9th fret. Then we go to a B major chord, and really you're just working with the top 4 strings, E, A, D, and G. You're not sort of playing all 6 strings, if you know what I mean. So what I'm doing there is, you can see that on the tab, but it's like, you kind of hit the B chord twice, pull this finger down to make sort of a mock E chord, but it's really just a double stop or triple if you happen to hit that string. But again, I like it best with just the top 4 strings. And you bring it back to B. So nice and slow on that. One more time. And then there's more than one guitar here. There's also piano in the mix as well. If you listen carefully, you'll hear one guitar kind of boogie, right? And then you get that. There's also thirds in there, which I'll talk about. So what I do with that, it's basically a dominant 7th chord. And I've got that tabbed out for you as well. So what I do is I hit the ground with the boogie pattern, then form the chord. And what's happening with that chord, even though you can see it on the tab, it's 5 on the E string, the A string is muted out, 5 on the D string, and 6 on the G string. And that moves chromatically from A all the way to C. So we have. Now if you don't want to play the boogie pattern, you can just hit the A7 chord. But what you also hear in there is that major third traveling along with it. Whether it's coming from the piano or the other guitar is your guess as well as mine. But what I do sometimes when I would play it live, especially if there's a keyboard player around or just a bass player with a big sound, that kind of actually sounds pretty cool against the bass playing. So what I'm doing there is 2nd fret on the G string, 4th fret on the A string, and the D string in between is muted out. And that moves chromatically. So that can be kind of cool to put in there if you like it. So we hear this little riff in between right here. Right? And you always hear that open E string just before it. It's not sort of just, it's, and you don't have to put that in there, but I noticed it on the recording. It's like a, with that open E string. So that sounds pretty cool. And then we move right into the chorus, all right? So we have this. So let's talk about the chorus, all right? So after you do that little lead in, the chorus starts out the same way, with the chord hit twice and the 4 mutes. Then we move to the D power chord and it's 2 quick strikes. And you can play that by just going, or just using the A and the D string, but I've got it tabbed out for you with what you hear on the recording. You definitely hear this D note drop to C sharp, so I've included that in there, and that gives you the 3-string chord as well. So the chorus is, right, 2 quick strikes on the D chord, and you come back to the E chord, and that is hit on the upbeat. Right, so right on the upbeat, and then you hear the two harmony guitars. So what I do is I just play it on one guitar. You can see it tabbed out. It starts with fourths and then goes to a major third. And later on, it's so you have those two options for yourself to play, all right? I put them both on the tab for you. The two harmony guitars first time, and then the way you're going to hear it later on. So let me play it one time for you, kind of putting both of those in there. You have the option, right? Riff for another verse, okay? And you saw that little fill in there. It's typical of the fills that he's doing in here. You come off of that E chord, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and it lands on the third beat, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So it's the same riff, 7 to 9 on the E string, 7 on the A string, and then back to 9 on the E string. And then you're back into the riff for another verse. And you'll find your way all the way back to that E chord. And then it's into the bridge, okay? So obviously, as I mentioned before, there's more than one guitar going on in this track. But what I'm sharing with you is basically how to play it by yourself on one guitar, and kind of the way I played it for years with bands, okay? So there's two guitars happening on this bridge, of course. One is still the dirty guitar, the main one that we've been talking about with the heavy delay and distortion and everything. But the other guitar is super clean. So what you can do for this is maybe switch to the middle position pickup just to get a bit thicker sound, right? And bring the volume down, right? To clean up the sound a little bit. And then we play the bridge. Okay, so let me show you how I've approached that over the years. So again, just bring the output on the guitar down, maybe switch to the middle position pickup, even if you have a 5-way, right? And so what we've got going here is a G sharp minor to a B major to a C sharp minor. Okay, now once we get to that C sharp minor, that's where the action starts happening. Okay, so we hit that C sharp minor chord. It's the same thing we were talking about earlier, where you hit the bassier notes of the chord and then swing through and hit the remaining notes, all right? Once we do that, though, we're right into this riff, which you can see on the screen. We do that nice and slow. Similar to the riffs that he's been playing, right? So we have... Then we go to an F sharp minor 7th, a la Long Train Running, right? And this is kind of hit on the upbeat, okay? So it's like... So you hit that F sharp minor 7th chord on the upbeat and you give it 2 strokes. And then staying within the chord, we're playing... So you just take that ring finger off and you're just working with the D and the G string now, and you're going... 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? On that 4th strike of the pick. And then as you can see on the tab, do the same thing moving back to the A and the D string. Let me do that nice and slow. Okay? And that kind of weaves us back into a C sharp minor 7th shape. And if you can do that, then you're going to go... So that's a C sharp minor 7th chord, straight bar across all 6 strings at the 9th fret. 11th fret on the A string, and then put your pinky on the 11th fret on the G string, and then off, okay? So that's kind of a tricky little thing to play, but here it is super slow. Then come back and play the C sharp pattern, again, C sharp minor. Then on the downbeat, we go to an F sharp major chord. And always there's subtle variations in this stuff, right? But that's pretty much what you're going to be playing. So I added my pinky to the B string at the 12th fret, of course, for a sus chord, and then back. Right? So I like to put the piano part in there, okay? I used to play this on stage with bands and there was no piano player, right? So I'd play that piano lick. So here's the lick, nice and slow with the tab on the screen. And then as you can see, I came back full throttle to the G sharp minor, B, C sharp minor, F sharp minor 7th, all of that exactly as it was played before. Then what we do is we hit an A chord. You can see I'm sussing it by adding a finger to the 3rd fret on the B string. And that's the rhythm basically. Like I said, some of this stuff is really loose, and so try to keep it that way yourself as well. But basically what I'm doing is, you can even do variations on that. But that's basically what you're doing. And then it's C, D, E. And they throw that little lick in there. So we have. So that's pretty cool. What you can do on that part is kind of flip to your bridge pickup when you start hitting those chords, especially the C, the D, and the E, okay? That kind of brings it back to life to get back to the heavier part. So you might play that whole bridge like this with the tone, or excuse me, the volume backed off and maybe a toggle switch in the middle. Pretty cool stuff, pretty fun to play, okay? So I trust you can listen to the recording. That's all the parts, and you can hear what the arrangement is. It's pretty straight ahead. I haven't done the guitar solo for it in this particular video because it would just be way too long, and most viewers seem to just want to learn the song. You know, I don't get as many views for the solo sometimes, but I love the solo in this song, so maybe I'll just go ahead and do it. And for those who might want to hear it and learn it and know it. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. All the best to everyone. We'll see you soon.